Quis's Couch.
Hey, what up? Welcome to Quis's Couch 2.0. So, 2.0. So basically, this is the new retool. Got me a little vlogger kit. See, we can take out the light. I got the microphone, but I got to go buy a little jack, the 3.5 attachment. But right now, my AirPods, we'll see how that works. Hopefully, I'm not just recording this in sound, but instead of going live like I usually would, I'm actually filming it, and I'm gonna edit it and add little things up here, little pictures. So without further ado, if you're new to Quis's Couch, this has been something I've been doing since 2011. I started with my PlayStation 2 camera, sitting on my couch at home one day. I had a day off of work. This is before my second set of kids came into the picture, so I just had a lot of free time. And just started doing movie reviews, comic book reviews, just talking about life, some episodes were serious. I remember when my cousin Thomas died, I did a video about him, and that one was pretty emotional. For those who remember IJS, if you're watching this and you were a part of the I'm Just Saying chat room, I think that was back in like 2012, 2013, when Facebook first started the private chat rooms. And it started off with behind closed doors, and then it became IJS. And a lot of people I had already knew, and we were just adding people, me and Thomas, or Reno, or City. I forgot, I think that's what people knew him as, Reno, back then. We just started adding people, and then people started adding people, and then I'm still friends today with quite a few, Blanca, Tisha, people that I never met in real life, but I met through the behind closed doors. So, a lot has happened in we talking 13 years since I first started this. And over the years, I've came back to it and redone it. But, it's just funny to know that, like, before people started vlogging and podcasting, and before there was a TikTok, I was doing this. And I'm not saying I'm the first one, but it wasn't really a big thing back then. It had just started. And so, it was cool to have people watching it. So here I am, a lot of people, and by a lot of people, my mother and my brother, shouts out to, I love you, Ma, and my brother Darius, and my sister Dominique. She's the main reason, because we got something coming out. I ain't gonna get into that right now, but it's tied into, recording. But, they be like, especially my brother, he be like, bring back Quis's Couch. And shouts out to Party Upstairs on TikTok. I think, you just Darius on TikTok or on Facebook. My brother Darius, his stuff is hilarious. His content, the stuff that he's doing with his music and with the characters and stuff.
All right, here we go, boys. And 1, 2, 3, and... It was not yet.
Stuff. Like, I can't wait to get you on the show. That's one thing too. Quis's Couch would always have different guests, either live on the couch, or in via video side by side. So I'm gonna get back to doing all of that. I already got a couple guest stars lined up. Coach Santos, my personal trainer. That's gonna be crazy. And it's just I'm gonna bring it back. Put some effort into it. Do some post production. I got my little setup. And, we'll just see where this goes. Just keep doing it until it picks up. I hate watching myself, hearing myself. I don't hate so much the watching, but the hearing, the voice. Oh, Jesus. But like I said, there's like quite a few people, and again, we're talking like maybe 7, who every now and then be like, yo, what up with Quis's Couch? And I'm like, really? Y'all liked it? So we'll see in this new sea of influencers and social media, vloggers and characters. We'll see where this goes, where I take it. And so I'm just going to bring a few things to you today to kind of kick things off, a few things that I have been up to or I've been enjoying, things that I have an opinion on, because that's what this is. Also, I'm not on the couch. I'm on my bed. I got roommates. I'm staying in a sober living, real recovery, and so my one roommate, Jamie's out on the couch watching The Devil's Advocate. Actually, sleep is watching him. But so I'll be filming in my room when necessary and on the couch when possible. But Quis' couch is more just an idea. It don't literally gotta be a couch. So I don't want anybody in the comments like, you're not on the couch. And so real quick, we're gonna shot a quick little video, made a little montage. I just went to a sober walk over at Sims Park, and it was dope. It was nice. It was a celebration of sobriety. The community came out. So here's a quick little montage, mashup clip that I made. Just a couple pics, me on stage, singing Journey. So we're gonna go to that.
I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright. Baby, I'ma have the best fucking night of my life. And wherever it takes me, I'm down for the ride. Baby, don't you know I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright.
Real close, we're gonna bounce it slow. I see you in the smoky room. I think I smell the wine. Smell wine. For one smile that can share the night. People are yawning and moaning. Sing the words to me.
And we're back. So let me put this up right here so I'll know to. Lost my light. Probably gotta charge that. But I had to just stamp it so I know where to edit it and bring myself back. This is all new, learning as I go, the editing and adding post-production and stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. I've been playing around on the internet for a while with my phone, doing different things, making different videos. So this is just the evolution of that. All right, but without further ado, first thing I'm gonna talk about, just saw it about a week ago. Everybody knows I'm a huge comic movie fan. I'm a Marvel guy, MCU all day. But recently I just watched Blue Beetle. And Blue Beetle, starring Zolo Maridenia. And that's him. And of course, the ever hilarious George Lopez, his Uncle Rudy. So it's DC, right? Let's get to it. DC is nowhere near on the level as Marvel. No debate. That's just a fact. Marvel, the MCU, they got 30 plus films. They got a number of shows. It's all interconnected. That's what makes Marvel, Marvel. The movies, the shows, you feel like you're in one shared universe. Even with the cartoons like Into the Spider-Verse, there's some teasing. There's the idea of a multiverse. And you have a feeling that even that's a part of an extended Marvel universe, and the idea of bringing these characters together, even across animation and live action. DC is all over the place, just like the comics. In the comics, you got Batman, you got Superman, you got all these other titles, and they don't always fit in this shared universe. There's always these one-shot Batman, stories, and, they're usually good, but there's no sense of a larger, broader DC universe unless you're reading the Justice League. So everyone has always said that the DC animated universe, where they've built about 6 or 7 animated movies in what's called the Tomorrowverse, and they're pretty good. And then there are the shows, and of course, all the characters from DC appear in the various movies and shows, and on an animated level. But in the movies, anybody that knows anything about DC knows that they're all over the place. They're firing and hiring directors. You got the Snyder cut with the Justice League movie, and there's all this controversy with the actors and who they brought in to direct. And so now you got Blue Beetle. I'll have to check, see who directed it, but it's campy, it's fun. It's one thing critics are saying is that it relies heavily on the family aspect. It's almost like a family-oriented film that just happens to have a superhero element. Now, the problem for me is, no cap, I watched it online, so I didn't have any subtitles. And it takes place in Brazil, so there's a lot of Spanish. And yo hablo español un pequeño. Can't even say that, right? So for me, I missed out on a lot of the ends and, you know, the conversation with, for example, the grandmother pretty much only spoke in Spanish. And there was a lot of Spanish asides and comments made by everybody from George Lopez to the main characters. And so there was a lot of the personal element that I lost that had I saw it in theaters or if I spoke Spanish, I would have been able to appreciate. It didn't really take away from it because the context was always there, you know. But the story, of course, is about this scarab or space beetle, which is an object or an artifact that bonds with the main character, Jaime, not to be confused with Jamie. And this scarab gives him these abilities where it's basically a nanotech, smart, sentient robot that bonds with his, cerebral cortex on the back of his spine. Hilariously, if you see the trailer, you know how crazy that looks. And George Lopez, who doesn't disappoint in the comedic area, he's like, it went up his culo, it went up his butt. And he's like, it did not go up my butt. And he's like, well, how is it getting in your body? So it basically bonds with them. And there's this AI that's sentient, and she works with Jaime to provide this armor that can pretty much whatever he can imagine create weapon wise. It can fly, and it's pretty just unlimited in its potential. It can create all kind of swords and guns and just whatever is necessary as he's battling, the forces of evil, the people that he comes in conflict with. And it's all tied up with the origin of the original Blue Beetle, which if you're not a DC fan, you don't know who Ted Kord is and the OG Blue Beetle. That's kind of fan service for the DC fans and people who read the comics. But there's this idea that there was a previous Blue Beetle 30 years ago, and he's kind of taken up the mantle as a more modern Blue Beetle. Of course, the original was white. He's, Latino, Brazilian in the movie. And so, it's one of those movies where the main villain also has the same armor. So it's, one of those things in a lot of superhero movies where it's same versus same. The bad guy usually has the mirror powers of the good guy, and they're kind of just, cancel each other out. Like who can outdo the other with the same ability. That's a trope that a lot of superhero movies rely on. Susan Sarandon plays the villain, the ultimate scientist, evil CEO, of the Cord Corporation. So in a lot of ways, it's copy and paste superhero movie. There's nothing remarkable. It's not tied to the broader DCEU. So that, you would have loved to kind of get they mentioned Superman and Batman, but there's no sense of, he's going to join any teams, which he may. But, the thing about DC, you got Aquaman coming out around Christmas. They just hired James Gunn, who, of course, did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies for Marvel. You see a movie that's okay. It wasn't offensive. It wasn't horrible. The Flash was meh. And if I'm being honest, Blue Beetle was meh. It was an emotional beat that kind of got me a little bit, for personal reasons. Obviously, I could connect. So there was that little bit of emotion that they drew upon. But, it's one of those catch it when it comes out on, whatever streaming platform. It's DC. That's and I hate to sound overly biased, but it is what it is. Marvel movies, you go see them, they leave you feeling, for the most part, blown away. Avengers Endgame, Shang-Chi, Spider-Man, No Way Home, they're epics. And one thing, too, that this movie suffers from, that a lot of DC movies suffer from, is that Marvel, with that Disney money, they get big name marquee actors. They get people that can bring the gravitas, that can carry a scene, carry a movie. Whereas DC, they might get one or two big names like Blue Beetle. Again, you got George Lopez and you got Susan Sarandon, and I'm sure some of the characters are possibly popular in the Latino community. I think one of the characters is a Latino pop star. But for the most part, on a broader level, Marvel, you're dealing with Samuel Jackson, Don Cheadle, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr. You're dealing with like the who's who of Hollywood, people that have Grammy or Oscar award winning, performances under their belt. So that's where DC suffers. And unfortunately, this movie is a part of that reality. No huge marquee actors and actresses, not a cohesive part of the broader DC extended universe. And it's just a decent run-of-the-mill, superhero origin story. Kid gets power, kid doesn't want to be a superhero based on circumstances, kid rise to the challenge. The grandmother, though, she does steal the scene, especially they show in the trailer. She gets a hold of some of the heavy artillery, when they go to rescue the hero. Ironically, his family has to come get him. She comes with the big Gatling gun, and because of her, past, she's able to, squad up. She was a guerrilla fighter back in, the Contras and all of that with, South America and the freedom fighters and all that. So that was a cool little addition to the film. Also, one thing I did like is that in most superhero movies, they got to keep their secret identities, secret from their friends and family. They got to lie and sneak around. This movie, he finds out about his powers along with his family. They're a part of the entire journey. So that part of it was unique, and that did work. To see his whole family caught up in the drama, concerned. At one point, he's saving them. Another point, they got to go rescue him. And they use some of the technology that was left over from the previous Blue Beetle. So there's some, subtle nuances, nothing too crazy, nothing like shifts the entire genre. But, it was quaint. It was good. Like I said, it wasn't offensive. If I had to give it a letter grade, I'd give it a C+. All right, on to the next. Ahsoka. Now, if you're a Star Wars fan, you already know what it is. You already caught up. You already know what's happening. If you're not a Star Wars fan, let me put you on game. So about maybe 8 or 9, 10 years ago, they did the animated series Clone Wars, in which they introduced Ahsoka. She's a young, I wish I could have her race set up. Oh, by the way, here's Ahsoka. She is a Padawan. She's a young Jedi trainee under Anakin before he becomes Darth Vader. If you don't watch Star Wars, this is a crazy place to jump in. Even I didn't finish all the different Clone War animated seasons. I didn't finish Rebels. I saw all the movies, of course. The shows, love The Mandalorian, finished all 3 seasons. Boba Fett, got about maybe 6 or 7 episodes in. There's been a lot of Star Wars shows that have been put out recently. Andor, Obi-Wan, Mandalorian, Boba Fett. And then there's a series of animated pre-original trilogy series, Clone Wars, Rebels, Bad Batch. So if you're a super duper Star Wars fan, I ain't telling you nothing you don't already know. If you're a casual, then you may have seen Rosario Dawson is playing this Star Wars character. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then this is probably not for you. You might want to skip ahead. But basically, Ahsoka is the continuation and live action of the story of Ahsoka in the animated series and series, because she was both in Clone Wars and in Rebels, and the characters from Rebels who were animated, now they're live action. And all I can say is wow. Spoiler alert, we see Anakin come back via Space Ghost or Force Ghosts. We see a lot of characters in flashbacks and in dream sequences. The clones, in particular Rex. We see a younger Ahsoka, and by, I believe we're at the 6th episode, we finally get to see General Thrawn in live action. And we see Ezra, finally. He's back. He had been gone. He disappeared 9 years ago at the end of Rebels. He was lost in another galaxy. And basically, David Filoni, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, I have to go back and check, but he's the guy behind Mandalorian and now Ahsoka and a lot of, if not all, these live action shows. And he is the new George Lucas. He's creating a world in the shows that is as good, on par with the original trilogy. And now the prequels have gained a new found appreciation now that time has allowed people to go back and be critical in a positive way of what Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor had did with the original trilogy. And basically this new generation of Star Wars shows is just creating this excitement. And at the corner, I mean, first you had Grogu, aka Baby Yoda. He brought back a lot, or brought in a lot of, casual fans and people to the Star Wars ultimate world, but with Ahsoka, she's just a badass. She got 2 lightsabers. She's out here taking down fighter jets in space. She's doing her thing. She's a very strong and powerful. She's not a Jedi because she left the Order. She's just a badass with lightsabers. She's kind of walking the gray path between dark and light. And she's incredible. It's Rosario Dawson, she brings it. Every episode just ups the ante, it adds to the Star Wars lore. And just like with The Mandalorian, it just makes you really excited about what's coming next in the overall Star Wars mythos, the world at large, how it ties into the, the main characters, Luke, Han, Leia, Lando, Chewie, the OG Star Wars characters. And also the implications for the people that we've met in the latest trilogy, Kylo Ren and Rey and Finn and all the people that are just continue being added to the Star Wars legacy. So it's really exciting. If you don't watch it and you're a Star Wars fan, you're doing yourself a huge disjustice because it is incredible. It is not failed at all. I'm going to go back and watch and finish the Clone Wars and Rebels just so I can get that level of excitement that a lot of fans online are just reacting to, seeing a lot of the animated characters and moments being played out or continued in the live action world. And I can feel their excitement as someone who's been a longtime fan, reading the books, watching the original trilogy 1,000 times, the prequels and the newer ones. It's just an incredible world to enjoy. And I'm just excited what's coming next. Ahsoka is creating a path that the Mandalorian really kind of established where people are not going to get fatigued from new Star Wars content. So that just means that we can continue to see more characters, more stories told throughout the different periods in a Star Wars, very expansive, timeline. So yeah, Ahsoka, I give it an A+ for what it's doing, the lightsaber battles, discussions of the Force, the past, different, situations with Anakin. All of what it does, it just creates a beautiful addition to the Star Wars world, the legacy, and it's a must-see. If you're a fan of Star Wars, get out there. Disney Plus, there's different sites you can watch it for free. There's no excuse. You need to be watching it. And last but not least, this is a personal favorite, Reservation Dogs. Boom. Reservation Dogs is it's in its 3rd and final season. It's an FX show directed by Taika Waititi. Stars 4 teenagers that basically live on a reservation in Oklahoma. They're Native American, but it's about the human experience filtered through the lens of being Native American in a modern society. So there's a lot of tribal language and cultural stuff that's filtered in, but really it's just about 4 hilarious, tragic people dealing with life, dealing with suicide, dealing with family, dealing with the loss of family, not having parents in their lives, but having the community come together as aunts and uncles to kind of just carry that burden left behind by absentee parents. It's about romance. It's about just being a complete shit ass is a popular slur, not even a slur, just an insult that they use for, just these kids being kids, stealing potato chip trucks and then selling the potato chips on the front lawn, pretend like they ain't steal the potato chip truck, even though they was caught on camera. Just the stuff that any rebellious teenagers, like, they consider themselves a gang, hence the Reservation Dogs. But really, they're a family, and each season just continues to up the ante of the emotional impact of these episodes that a lot of time come in as funny, but then before you know it, they just hit you in the feels. Just like Taika Waititi, the director, he did a film a few years ago, Jojo Rabbit, which was phenomenal. It was hilarious until it wasn't. And the same thing about Reservation Dogs. You go in laughing and smiling, connecting with these people, and then before you know it, by the end of the episode, you're in tears because of the relatability of a lot of the stuff that the characters go through in their series and throughout the series. As you see these characters evolve and develop as young adults in this world that is very dismissive and racist toward Native Americans. Being part Native American myself, I've never felt the stigma, but there is a connection on that level. My grandfather's Cherokee, and, you know, he wasn't really present in my life, but, you know, just knowing that I have this connection to the natives of, you know, this country, it just, you know, helps you connect on some level that you're just like, man, these people today are still continue to suffer a lot of discrimination, and we don't necessarily know what it is to have to be discriminated against as openly, you know, because in a sense, historically, it's always been about like America versus the natives, you know, versus the Native Americans, as if they're just a separate people altogether, hence the reservations. But in reality, you know, this show humanizes Native Americans in the modern world and shows how much of this world they're a part of, and almost to the point where there's really no difference, but then there is this amazing sense of culture and history and beliefs that are separate and different, you know. So you get to get a glimpse into a world that in a lot of ways is off limits or secretive to those of us who aren't a part of that culture. And that's what I love. I love subcultures and the idea of getting to see into different parts that's not readily available. And that's the beauty of this show. So if you don't watch Reservation Dogs, it's in its final season. Highly recommend checking it out because I love it. It's one of my favorite shows. It comes on FX or any streaming platform. And with that, I've been the Quis, and as always, I've been awesome. Peace.
The